Good evening. Welcome to a special late night edition of the Cohn Zone. That's Lowell Cohn. I'm Grant Cohn. The reason we're going late today is twofold. I flew back from Philly today. The flight was delayed. I had to go through Houston, and I finally made it back. And by the time I made it back, they were playing a game, and we had to watch Aaron Rodgers, close-ups of Aaron Rodgers nonstop as he played one of the worst games of his career. I hope I never have to see that again. But Dad, is so good to see you.
It's great to have you back in the Bay Area, Guy.
So the Niners are back in business. They're back in the playoffs. They just won another playoff game. It was an incredible win. And anytime the Niners start doing things that make you think of Super Bowls or history, it's good to bring in the big guy who covered everything, all the important moments with the 49ers. You know what an important historic moment feels like with the 49ers. Dad, what made this wild card victory over the Eagles so special?
Yeah, it really was special. This game was so great and so unique. I don't. I wish I were covering it. I don't often wish. It's been 10 years. I don't often wish that I were in a press box on deadline. But what an honor it would have been to write about that game. So why was it special? Everybody, including me, thought Philly was just too much for the Niners. The Niners went on the road 3 time zones away against the defending Super Bowl champions. Early in the game, they lost one of their superstars, George Kittle, who is really important as both a run blocker and a pass catcher, and I guess a motivator. Um, they couldn't run the ball the whole game. They couldn't run the ball, and the defense had a lot of trouble stopping the run. Everything was going against them, and yet they won. Iggy, so there's something you want to call it an imponderable, an intangible, the X factor, however you want to describe it. I think we all know what I mean, but it's hard to define. The Niners had it, and the Philly didn't have it. The Philly lost it. And the Niners had to win not on talent, because I don't know that they were as talented. They had to win on cunning, guile, brains, courage, everything that you think of as heroic. And to be an underdog and to do that is a celebration of our spirit, of maybe the spirit of the Bay Area, or the spirit of human beings. I took great meaning from that game, and I don't even root for the 49ers, and yet it um, added to my life. That's how big I thought that game was.
I thought it was so interesting watching them like juxtaposed with the Eagles because the Eagles are the champions and the Niners took them down in their field. And it just felt like the Eagles went up 16-10. They were up 16-10 in the fourth quarter. Or yeah, in the fourth quarter. And they had no urgency to put that game away. They felt that was enough. They were running the ball, they were punting. They thought their defense could handle it. I mean, they didn't do anything exotic the entire game. Purdy ran for more yards than Jalen Hurts in this game. They were just uninspired on offense, and they thought that would be enough. And then in the first play of the fourth quarter, with Purdy struggling, he had just thrown a pick. They hadn't done much on offense. Kyle Shanahan calls this reverse. He calls sky bang reverse pass for Jawan Jennings, who throws a 29-yard touchdown through the wind to Christian McCaffrey to give the Niners the lead. I mean, the Eagles didn't have the imagination, the guts, and the Niners did. That's the big reason they won. It was almost like they rope-a-doped them.
Iggy, tell the name of the play again.
Sky bang reverse pass. So Sky Moore goes in that jet sweep. He gets the ball, then he reverses it. He pitches it to Jawan Jennings, who throws it. I asked after the game. I was interested. I feel like it's one of the most important plays in 49ers history that it wasn't in a Super Bowl. It's going to be a play that it's going to go down in lore. Why don't we know the name of the play so it can be like trivia or something?
Iggy asked Kyle, what's the name of the play? And Kyle answered at length because he loved
Yep.
it. Now, it won't be as famous as sprint right option. That's the most famous, but it's up there, Iggy. And I was so proud of you when you asked that question.
You know what it reminded me of? Remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl about 10 years ago with Nick Foles and they had that 2-point conversion where Nick Foles pitched it and then he ended up catching it and they called it Philly Special. And they were so proud to tell everyone what the play was called. It's kind of like that. Tell us what the play's called. He wanted it. He wasn't like, no, that's scheme. Sorry, can't let you know. No, it's called Sky Bang Reverse Pass, and we like that play.
And it's,
He said it used to be called Debo Bang Reverse Pass, and they used to call it, they've been calling it for years.
I love it. And I'm so proud of you for having asked the question. And
They
listen,
wouldn't have won that game without that play.
I'm proud of Kyle for calling it.
Yep. Save their season. He called it the exact
Saved
right
their-
time.
Yeah, it was again, I would say it was artistic. It
Yeah.
was wonderful. It was wonderful.
And that's why I love this team so much. Like, not to take anything away from Purdy, but he doesn't get full credit for these wins. It's not like he's Josh Allen just like forcing this team to victories. Like, it's a little bit of the wide receiver throwing a touchdown sometimes. It's Demarcus Robinson had an incredible game. Like, every supporting actor gets credit on this team, which is what makes it so endearing.
And sometimes Kyle doesn't like to use supporting actors, but he was forced to, and they came through. And I hope he remembers that.
That is such a key thing to talk about. I think we're going to talk about it later too, or I'd like to. It brings out the best in him sometimes when a player like George Kittle goes down. It's not good for the team for George Kittle to go down, but sometimes Kyle gets so grooved into Christian, George, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, the season's over unless I figure out something with the fullback and Demarcus Robinson and Jawan Jennings. Oh, I got it. It's like all of a sudden Kyle's at his best, and that's one of the most impressive non-playoff victories he's ever had was in LA this year with all the backups, Mac Jones and all the backups. That was Kyle Shanahan at his best. We know he can do it.
Yeah, and in fact, you'd like to almost see him do it more, and you'd like to see him do it when he's not under duress. But you know what? I think today we're going to just praise him.
Well, no. What's so interesting about this spot in the season is he had this great game, but it came 1 week after his worst game against Seattle, and now he has to face Seattle again. So the question is, will he do better this time, or does Seattle just have his number? Right? I mean, we're not putting him in Canton because he beat Fangio, although he beat the shit out of Fangio. Pardon my French. That was the worst I've seen Fangio. He was giving up big plays left and right.
Yeah. As far as evaluating Kyle, we're going to do that a little later, right?
Yes, we will.